This gal makes some great points. Once she talks about an older house, you might not think you'll be able to sell it, but you might be amazed. Cleaning up the yard, putting some plants and pots and flowers around the yard is important. Fixing up some screens and doors and holes and patching different things, inexpensive fixes might help you sell the property at a little more money. But there's also some other things. The three major people that are looking for this are flippers, deal hunters, and remodelers on an older house. If you even have a mortgage on it uh, and you have equity, you have to realize that the flippers, the deal hunters, and the remodelers have to make a profit on what they're selling. So they're going to take up your mortgage. They're going to work with some of the equity costs that you have. And they're going to, the last part of it is they have to make a profit on the repairs. So your house has to be in good enough shape for them to consider repairing it and paying off that mortgage and working with that equity that you've got to give you some profit in the deal. So if you don't have enough equity to take care of the repair costs that it's got to take to have them make a profit, that's going to be a challenge. So they can work out around some figures, but they've got a ballpark area that they're looking for 10 or 15% profit when this whole thing's done. So you're looking at what you can get out of the price. They're also looking at what they can get out of the end house after it's paid for, the mortgage is paid for, the remodels paid for, and what they can get from either keeping that house or selling that house when they're done, and either working with future renters or future buyers. So it's kind of a different perspective. If you start looking at the flipper and deal hunters and remodelers perspective that they need a profit, you really consider the older home. If it's in good enough shape for them to do that and there's enough equity and the cost of their repairs aren't too great and they can make 10 to 15% on it, they'll probably do it. But if not, probably not. So it's interesting looking at their perspective. The important thing is you need to understand is yes, you may go through a realtor, but you may also go through one of these other individuals, and they may offer you something the realtor can't. But remember, the realtor's looking at a profit too to sell the place to these individuals. So you can work with or without realtors in making an offer, and they will negotiate, whoever it is, they will negotiate, whether it's a realtor or one of these flippers, to get it into profit, and they'll make an offer. You need to consider what you need out of the home, and maybe also look at what they need out of the home. Somewhere between the two uh, buyers and sellers, there's usually a profit in some or many situations, but not all. So it depends on where the numbers are going, who's going to end up with what share of the profit after the work is done on fixing the house up and reselling it. There's not enough working room area for profit on these for these flippers. They won't do it. The same can be said with the realtor. If they're not going to get enough profit out of selling the home, they're not going to do it either. So not all homes are possible real estate deals or flipper deals. Some are, some aren't. But it's all depending on the numbers and what the flippers think they need to make in on it when they purchase it from you. The same could be said for the realtor. But the realtor is looking at it a little differently than these flippers, deal hunters, and remodelers are. Because these individuals have to put the labor and the time in it and restore it to a level that they can easily rent it or have a buyer buy it, and they have to make profit after all that work is done inside and outside and on the lawn of the home and the grounds of the home. So that needs to be kept in mind when we make an offer. If there's enough profit in the deal, then they're going to do it. If there's not, they won't. And they're going to have to run those figures through you and through them and see what they can come to. The realtors may take a little longer to do a deal. Flippers may be a little quicker on the deal. But nonetheless, there has to be enough profit, whether the realtor's doing it or flipper's doing it, to satisfy all parties. So the deal could be done. And so you can even look and consider an offer. And if there's not enough profit in it, doesn't matter what the offer is, then they're not going to do it. So that's the simple and short of it. But you should look at offers in an older home if you own it and see what's possible. And look at an offer both from a realtor's perspective and from a flipper's perspective. You might be surprised what can be done and how soon it can be done working with a flipper versus a realtor. Both offers should be considered in what you can and can't do in accepting an offer from either individual. Think about it and consider an offer both from flippers and from realtors. The realtor may be working with these individuals too, but you may pass the realtor and be surprised that going directly to a flipper or deal hunter or a remodeler might be able to save you some money, because what you're doing when you bypass the realtor is taking a little bit of their profit out of the picture, and it's going to the flippers and the dealers and the remodelers. Now, the advantage of doing with realtors, you have someone on your side kind of helping you and protecting you to go through the paperwork on this. But there are other people involved in these deals too. So no matter what you do, there's going to be other parties that are involved in this process. And individuals like me work with those parties, usually without a realtor, to do a deal because I get paid what the realtor would be paid, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So the individual working for your behalf has to make a profit on this too. So just consider that when you're trying to sell your older home. Again, have a great day. Think about working with or without a realtor, with or without a flipper, and there's going to have to be an offer made and accepted by both parties, and someone in the middle making that offer so they can get profit going 2 or 3 different ways. Something to consider. Some people would not consider working without a realtor, others would. There are advantages for both sides. Good day.